Kilusan Bautista is Asian Pacific American, specifically from the Philippines. As we look at gentrification this week, his story is one of displacement, of being driven out of his apartment by a merciless and unstoppable force, also known as the housing market.
The housing market, yes. It's true, but he is an artist, and he's turned his unhappy saga into a play/performance piece called Transcend. And here to tell us how this all came to be and give us a taste of his production is Kilusan Bautista. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's our pleasure.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. So why don't you tell us a bit about how this project came about for you?
All right. Well, I moved to New York City about 10 years ago, and I lived here in Brooklyn. I started out as a teacher, working with the Brooklyn Public Library. That transformed into a teaching artist and then a full-time artist. So I've constantly been based in the community, working with the youth, specifically GED and students that have dropped out but are dropping back in to empower themselves with their education. And I got inspired by that, and I wanted to get my master's degree. So I moved from the Actors Fund down the street here on Skirmahorn and Hoyt to Crown Heights, where I lived there twice. That would be my second time, right on Franklin and President, closer to Brooklyn College. And I was getting my master's in fine arts out there. Unfortunately, I was a subletter, and I came to the quick realization that subletters have no rights when it comes down to leases, and when you want to get when the landlords want to price you out so that they can triple, quadruple the rent. And I was given less than 3 months, about a month, me and my girlfriend to leave and to find a new place. A month in Brooklyn wasn't enough time, so as a result, I found myself with 3 weeks of doing anything and everything I can to survive, to stay in school. I was couch surfing, I was sleeping in the subways, on top of going to school full time, on top of working 5 different jobs as a freelancing artist, and on top of just trying to be a positive person in New York City.
Now, this is a story that you could hear almost at any bar in Brooklyn, unfortunately. But how did you go from being the guy sitting next to me on the stool to being on stage, putting everybody on blast for what this housing situation is like?
Well, as an artist that's socially conscious and that connects my work to a historical narrative of systems of oppression, I find that I take tragedy and turn it into art so that it can serve as a positive message, serve as a platform to talk about social issues. And you all mentioned the G word, not the G spot, but the G word. And it does seem like, not to be confused, but it does seem like it's a bad word when you have these conversations, and a lot of times people don't want to address their positionality within it. But when you put it on the stage and when you put it in a play, it allows every audience member to come in, no matter what sector of society you're at, from elite, bourgeoisie, to poor, working class. All together, you're in that audience and you're feeling this subject, and that feeling is part of what I call a humanizing process. And that's what I want Transcend. That's why it's called Transcend. I don't want to leave audiences with a message of despair or negativity, but to actually transcend any type of struggle, any type of hardship. And you have to go through it. You have to go through those hard hours, those hard days where you just don't know what else to do. But there are ways, and I was embraced, like I always have been, by the community, by the resources. I'm a natural hustler, so I tried to find a way, turning these corners to that corner to find the right path. And now from Brooklyn, which I love and I hope to come back to, I'm now in the Bronx and realizing and connecting with the struggle out in the Bronx. And it's a similar concept.
But listen, from Brooklyn to the Bronx to the world now, you're going to take this thing global, and we're going to get a little taste of it. So I'm going to invite you to get yourself in the position right now so we can give you just a little sample of what Transcend is going to mean in the Brooklyn context and for the rest of the world when they get a piece of this. So while he's getting in the position.
From what we understand, the piece kind of blends theatrical storytelling, multimedia visual projections, which we'll hear a little bit more about later, and also hip hop and electronic music.
All right, he's in place. Let's give Kilusan the floor. This is a part of Transcend.
Next stop, off the Transcend subway line, where 60,000 people go to every single night. That's the New York homeless shelters. That number does not include those couch surfing, overcrowded apartments, or not checking into homeless shelters at all. Let that sink in for a hot New York minute. There's so many different types of wanderers of the night. A billion thoughts travel at the speed of light. Universal Self was a one-man show God instructed me to write. For 5 years I traveled around the world, and that was a righteous fight. I dreamed of Broadway, the great white's way. I thought I could razzle-dazzle with space just to play. I'm a Filipino brother straight from the Bay, blessed by indigenous warriors of the past and today. I should have realized there's no room for compromise. I've seen the struggle and must keep my eyes on the prize. No money or opportunity should ever censor our cries. The moment we give in is the moment we die. And I've lived the highs, even died a billion times, been burned by my own ambition, which is probably why I'm in this housing transition. Still, I've got to believe in my deepest intuition. Until then, I let go. I surrender to the infinite soul, traveling through these subways, tunnels, and holes, bleeding and rising until it is time to know. Forgive me, God, for my sins. I pray for hope amongst this devilish wind. I pray for a home to rest and live in. Goodbye to the universal self. I'm on my knees, surrendering in confession. I'm sorry we didn't make it to Broadway. I will forever, forever remember these blessings. I share this story in the name of truth. Gentrification destroys self-esteem. Still, we all got a dream. I'ma keep my head up. It is always time for the come up. Yeah, I'm breaking up with Brooklyn, hoping to break through in the Bronx, calling out the New York Real Estate Board and all sellout politicians as punks. Let the working class sit at the table. We are always ready, willing and able, stopping with the welfare criminal labels. How about policies and fables of honesty? We strive for self-determination, true democracy. Imagine a city of aristocracy. Will New York City become the neo-slavery? And what about the originality of culture? Imagine entrepreneur adventures of human value, where hipsters are educated to not be culture vultures, where we do not bail out Wall Street, rather we bail out people living on these streets. Raise the minimum wage, welcome everybody into the digital age. Finally turn the universal health care page, also the black reparations page. Amnesty for undocumented immigrants, affordable secure monthly rents, where landlords and brokers are monitored by the governments. Why shouldn't renters be treated with self-respect? We're not asking for no crumbs, no handouts, systemic justice. That's what I'm talking about. The next and final stop. Don't be scared, New York City. Don't be scared, Brooklyn. It's the future of New York City.